All right, welcome back to the podcast. And eerily beloved, we are gathered here today with
Garrett.
Mom.
for episode 31, I believe.
You believe? We don't know.
Close enough.
I think it's 31.
Believability.
Believability 31. I can look. Yep, episode 31. And if you've been listening to every single episode, appreciate you. And if you're a new listener, also appreciate you. And would love it if you would give us 5 stars and potentially a review on whatever platform you listen to this on. I would be very grateful. Okay, so today we have a true crime case because we did Bigfoot last week. We did
Crazy.
Edgefield the week before, and then we did the cows, and then Ramsett. So
yeah, it's been a lot of crazy.
So it's been a minute since we've done a proper true crime case. Okay, so true crime case this week. And Garrett, have you heard of the Green River Killer?
Nope.
Never?
Nope.
Really? If you're listening and you haven't heard of him, we'll only talk about him briefly, but the Morbid podcast did like a huge 4-part, hour-and-a-half episodes deep dive into him and all of his victims. So highly recommend that. So we are not talking about the Green River Killer, but we are talking about Misty Copsey. Do you know who that is?
Nope.
Do you know who it is? Well, you looked her up, yeah.
Yeah, because I looked her up.
This case is a little bit frustrating because police dropped the ball multiple times.
Dang, again?
From the beginning. And not many people believed that she wasn't a standard teen runaway, except for her mom. Well, let's get into it. On September 17th, 1992, 14-year-old Misty Copsey and her friend, Trina Bavard, were scheming. The best friend duo desperately wanted to go to the Puyallup Fair that was happening nearby, but they had a problem. Trina's parents wouldn't let her go without a ride home confirmed before they went, and Misty's mom, Diana Smith, could only drop them off as she worked nights as a caregiver for Alzheimer's patients. They lived in Spanaway, and Puyallup was 12 miles southwest, or a 20-minute drive, so walking to the fairgrounds was out of the question. The girls hatched a foolproof plan. A bus line from the fairgrounds to Spanaway ran at 8:40, and they would take that home. But they had to have Diana tell Trina's parents that she was picking the girls up and bringing them home.
Wait, so they had the mom lie?
Mm-hmm. Diana was not easily convinced to be an accomplice in their plan, but Misty and Trina promised to make it work. They were good kids and wanted to have a good afternoon at the fair, and they had a game plan to make it home, so Diana agreed. Misty dressed up for their girls' day and borrowed a pair of her mom's jeans. They were baggy and stonewashed with funky stitching up the sides. And when Diana dropped the girls off at 3 p.m., she reiterated that they needed to be responsible and not miss their bus home. She said, "If you screw this up, it's going to be the last time you do anything," followed by, "I love you." And then the two friends got out of the car while Diana went off to work. Diana's standard night shift was interrupted by a phone call at 8:45.
Uh-oh.
Misty and Trina had missed the bus.
What?
Diana recalls her daughter sounded upset over the phone, but said it was okay that she could get a ride with Reuben Schmidt, an 18-year-old she knew who drove a green 1974 Chevrolet Nova, who also had a crush on Misty.
Oh, boy.
Diana is reported in the News Tribune as saying, "I don't want you getting a ride from that kid. I don't like that kid. You know I don't. Call somebody else." Misty said she'd call someone else and then call her mom back when she found a ride. But unfortunately, Diana never got a call from Misty. Throughout the rest of her shift, she tried not to panic, thinking that Misty probably just got a ride from Reuben and forgot to call her back. Diana's worst fears, however, were confirmed when she got home and Misty wasn't in her bed.
Oh, boy. And she worked the night shift.
Mm-hmm. So right away, Diana had issues trying to get people to take Misty's disappearance seriously. When she tried to report her daughter missing that night, the dispatcher told her that law enforcement couldn't do anything for what sounded like a standard runaway case for 30 days.
What? 30 days?
And normally we know it's like 24 hours that you
24
have to
hours.
wait.
The first 48.
Yeah, exactly. So 30 days was kind of crazy. Thankfully, the next day, a staffer took the young girl's disappearance seriously, and she was able to file a report with the Pierce County Sheriff's Office on September 18th, 1992. However, because Misty went missing in Puyallup and they lived in Spanaway, which was considered Pierce County, jurisdictional tug-of-war commenced. Diana wasn't going to wait for police to get their act together and went to the person who was with her daughter that day to get some answers. According to Trina, she last saw Misty at the bus stop, and she walked home.
Wait. Only one of them missed the bus? I thought they both
They both missed the bus.
But one of them got a ride with the boy, and the other one walked home? 12 miles?
No, we don't know she got a ride home from the Reuben kid.
Okay, but she was going to get a ride home with the Reuben kid, and the other girl was going to walk home by herself?
Yep.
12 miles at night.
So that's what she told her mom, that I last left her at the bus stop when we missed the bus, and I walked home. And I said, I have a lot of questions. 1, you walked 12 miles home. 2, you left your friend in the dark without a ride home. Very, very strange, but we'll come back to Trina later.
That's not your friend.
Diana then tracked down Reuben Schmidt, the guy that Misty was going to get a ride from. Maybe he had picked her up. Something happened. She wasn't sure. According to the News Tribune, when Diana first got a hold of Reuben, his roommate had answered, or first tried to get a hold of him, his roommate had answered the phone. The roommate said that Reuben and his uncle had gone to pick up Misty that night. But when when she did finally get a hold of Reuben, he said that he did get a call from her, but that his roommate was wrong and he didn't have enough gas to go pick her up. He was at a party all night.
Oh.
Police were adamant that Misty was simply a runaway and refused to investigate further or even go to the media to say that she was missing. Say, like, what she was wearing, where she was, anything like that. Frustrated, Diana continued following leads and tracking down anyone who last interacted with her daughter, printing out pictures and putting them around where she went missing. So, like, at the fairgrounds. Mark Veach, a bus driver for the Spanaway route, recognized her photo and confirmed that he had talked to her that night of September 17th. She had asked him when the next bus is coming, but he told her their routes were done for the night, and so she walked away. He said this was around 9:20 p.m.
Wait, so she didn't miss the bus?
No, she did.
She did. I think she was trying to find, like, an alternate route, even if it wasn't, like, direct.
The guy said the routes were done. There's no buses. She missed the bus.
Yeah.
But the mom got the call at 8:45, and this guy said 9:20.
Well, he would have had to be on a different route, or he would have picked her up.
So on September 23rd, 6 days after Misty was last seen, Diana filed a missing persons report with the Puyallup police. The next day, Gary Smith, Youth Emergency Services Team Supervisor, faxed to Puyallup Police Sergeant Herm Carver with the note, "This is one of those just don't feel right reports. There's nothing here that points positively to foul play, but it just doesn't feel right. It's been a week and nobody has heard from this girl, and Mom is contacting the media complaining the cops aren't doing anything." Which...
Well, they weren't.
This at least prompted police to do a cursory glance around the fairgrounds, but no one had seen Misty. And also this is now... Yeah, so this is also now 7 days later that anyone is actually getting up from behind their desk to look for a 14-year-old.
Have you seen this random 14-year-old in a
no
crowd?
money, no car, and, like, no reason to run away from home?
Okay, but maybe. But the girl that she was with, to walk home 12 miles, assuming she, like 4 miles an hour or what, I mean, it would have taken her, like, a long time to get home.
Yeah.
Like 4 hours, 5.
And that's if she's telling the truth.
In the dark. Walking in the dark at night by herself. She would have gotten home in the middle of the night and her parents weren't worried about where her friend was.
Again, that's assuming that she was telling the truth, that she walked home. The attitude of law enforcement towards Misty from the beginning set the tone for the entire case. Sergeant Carver immediately assumed it was a standard runaway and that she would most likely be home soon, and that Diana was doing too much. This was reinforced after speaking with Buck Copsey, Diana's ex-husband. Diana unfortunately had a record. A background check showed she had multiple DUIs and had been convicted of welfare fraud in 1985. Additionally, she had reported Misty missing before back in August of 1992. But according to Diana, this was a false alarm, and she was too embarrassed to call back and tell police that Misty had been home the entire time.
All right, so that's not great.
Right. So this was enough evidence for Sergeant Carver to put minimal effort into looking for her and confirmed his suspicions that Misty was simply a teenage runaway. Meanwhile, at Misty's school, the hallways were buzzing with rumors about what happened to Misty. When investigated further on September 29th, many of her classmates claimed they had either seen her or heard from her since the 17th. Despite no confirmation that who they had talked to actually said they were Misty, or that they had personally interacted with her, someone who kind of sounded like her over the phone or looked like her from a distance was enough for Sergeant Carver to close the case. According to his case notes, he said, "I advised Diana Copsey that I was removing Misty Copsey from NCIC as a missing persons, as I believe her to be a runaway."
Wait, but so does that not make her a missing person, though? A runaway teenager with no money and...
To add insult to injury, the next day Sergeant Carver spoke on a Seattle radio station, claiming Misty was alive and well and her mother knew where she was.
What? You can't just make that up.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Wait.
Okay.
And for her mom, I just can't imagine how...
I mean, she's 14.
She can't drive. She has no money. Like...
But how'd she call her mom?
Payphone?
Payphone?
At the bus stop? Or bus station? So on October 26th, Misty was reactivated on both state and national disappearance lists and was technically no longer considered a runaway. But law enforcement didn't do this because they believed it to be true. Instead, it was a legal requirement for anyone who had been missing longer than 30 days. Considering the murders and kidnappings of many women and girls in the surrounding area had been dealing with for nearly a decade, it was surprising to many that Misty's disappearance wasn't a bigger deal. In late 1992, the Green River Task Force was revived after being disbanded due to the now over 40 victims believed to be killed by the Green River Killer, who was operating in the areas around Tacoma. The task force was now looking into 2 girls who had gone missing from the Puyallup area as potential victims of the Green River Killer. 14-year-old Kimberly DeLange went missing July 1988, and 15-year-old Anna Chibotnoy went missing August 1990. Both girls were last seen near a shopping center in Puyallup, and both girls' bodies were found near each other off of Washington 410. A similar clustering of dump sites tactic that the Green River used with his previous disposals. While the Green River Killer mainly targeted prostitutes and sex workers, a handful of his victims didn't fit that category, and he had just assumed they were because they were walking on the side of the road or hitchhiking.
Okay, but if she was walking, she would have been with her friend. What happened? I mean, I need to know more about this friend.
So now there's 3 missing girls from the same area.
I get it.
Okay.
But she was last with her friend, and her friend ended up walking home. The friend just kept walking while this girl got picked up by someone. That doesn't make sense.
I mean, maybe she told her friend, "Hey, this guy's coming to get me."
The Green River Killer's coming to get me?
No, if anything, it sounds like he would have came to get the friend that walked home.
That's what I would think. Exactly.
So the main question at this point was, could these 3 missing girls be part of a larger pattern and additional victims of the Green River Killer, or is there another person in the area targeting young girls? Jim Doran, a King County homicide detective who worked on the Green River case, believed the 2 girls could be additional victims, but as for Misty without a body, it was impossible to know. With the other local disappearances and it being well known that the Green River Killer had yet to be caught, you would think police would have some level of urgency at this point.
Wait, they disbanded the Green River Killer Task Force before they caught him?
Mm-hmm. Because he, kind of went quiet for a little bit.
What?
Mm-hmm. Despite there still being 40.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a choice.
However, Sergeant Herm Carver still believed that she was a runaway. He's quoted for the News Tribune saying, "We've had no one come forward to say we saw her abducted. We saw someone grab her and stick her in a vehicle. So they ultimately had no reason to think that happened."
Right.
But also with no evidence, you have no reason to believe that didn't happen. Especially because it was dark at 8:45, 9:20 in September.
Yeah, so if no one saw it, it must all just be sunshines and rainbows.
Oh, yes. On December 2nd, 1992, the News Tribune published an article titled "Foul Play Feared with Missing Spanaway Girl." In my research, this is the first article published about Missy's disappearance.
Wow.
In December, after she went missing in September. 3 whole months after she went missing. Her status was changed to "missing under suspicious circumstances," with Pierce County Sheriff spokesman Kurt Benson saying, "We believe there's a possibility of foul play." Due to the fact she had no money with her or no previous history of running away, that's what made them change the status. But her mom had been trying to tell them that from the very beginning.
Yeah.
So the previous weekend, Diana and a group of 20 rescue workers and friends began combing the woods along 410 near where the bodies of the other 2 girls had been recovered, any evidence of Misty. Diana was both relieved and disappointed that nothing of her daughters had been found on that search.
Good.
Yikes.
Despite her case status change at the end of the year, it was revealed on January 26, 1993, on the Northwest Afternoon Show in an interview with Trina Bavard that she had never been interviewed by law enforcement.
Wait, the friend that walked home? Interesting choice.
In fact,
Yeah.
none of the people Misty was last in contact with were followed up on either.
That's crazy.
So not the guy, not
Nope.
the uncle,
Nope.
not the
We
roommate.
have to understand
not
this
the-
girl would have had to walk for hours in the middle of the night in the dark. And you can imagine when she came home, her parents would have, had all types of questions for her. Where was her friend? Where, right?
Why would they have questions? It's not their kid.
Well, they would
She
wonder why
gone.
she came home in the middle of the night. That girl was supposed to get a ride home from Misty's mom also.
They didn't know that.
Yes, they did. Remember, that's what she told them.
Mom, this is assuming that her friend was telling the truth that she walked home.
Nobody ever got back to her, so
Right. Okay.
Also on this new segment was King County Homicide Detective Jim Doyen, who mentioned previously, who was on the Green River Task Force. And while he had no official role in investigating Missy's case, he personally went out to milepost 30 on 410 to investigate himself.
wow.
Okay.
The News Tribune even reports after more than 4 months, a detective who had taken a stab at looking for Misty, a detective from a neighboring county with no formal stake in the case.
Wow. Well, at least someone cares.
Sherlock.
After 5 months of Misty being missing, King County Police got a call from a security guard. He had arrived to unlock the utility access road off of 410, used by Weyerhaeuser Corp. For a search party, and while the group was waiting, they had found a mound of clothing. A sock, a pair of underwear, and a pair of jeans with funky stitching on the sides was found partially buried in a ditch.
What?
Diana recognized the jeans she had let her daughter borrow back in September immediately. And lab analysis showed there was no blood or semen on the clothing, but there were 3 red paint chips on the jeans and what they determined to be male hairs that weren't Misty's.
In a
Shit.
ditch?
Mhm.
Well, that kind of is Green River Killer-esque.
In the same area where the other 2 girls' bodies
Yeah.
had been found. For investigators, this was the first piece of tangible evidence that they had, and the location pointed to a potential connection with the 2 other Puyallup girls at least. Detective Jim Doyen is reported as saying, "There's a high likelihood that these 3 cases are linked. They all disappeared from Pierce County and they all ended up in King County. I would have to be blind not to see a connection." He also noted that the sites differed from typical sites used by the Green River Killer, but didn't rule him out as a suspect completely. Since 1984, 7 women who had been confirmed victims of the Green River Killer had been discovered in this 9-mile stretch on 410 between Unumco and Green River. Interestingly, in March 1993, there seemed to be public tension between King County investigators and the Puyallup Police. An article titled "Runaway or Victim, King Puyallup Police Split on Teen's Fate." This article went into extensive detail defending their individual investigations. Sergeant Herm Carver still only believed that she was a runaway, and with no compelling evidence of foul play, was choosing to look into recent sightings of her. Sergeant Carver said, "There isn't anything that would make someone think we've got a serial murderer out here preying on girls."
Minus the
But you
40
did-
victims.
But like,
I mean, that was
which
just
is
right,
crazy.
right at the height of a time when things were happening. So I just feel like
I don't know how you would even say that.
it feels completely disingenuous to a 14-year-old that's gone missing.
I was just going to say, I was going to make a joke. Meanwhile, dude back home's like, yeah, like nothing's wrong, run away. Found her jeans, so what?
Unfortunately, yeah, that was his
I
attitude.
mean, it doesn't even make any sense.
I know.
You find her clothing and then you say she's still run away even though
Mhm.
okay.
On the flip side, Detective Jim Doyen and his team were now interviewing witnesses and anyone who was with Misty that day, which the Puyallup police still had not done. And this is in March of 1993.
Dude.
They were operating under the assumption that Misty didn't disappear willingly and was a potential victim of the same suspect that killed the other 2 girls from Puyallup.
Dude, 6 months later.
Right.
Hey, do you remember that girl you saw 6 months ago?
Right.
Come on.
And he was upset too because working on the Green River case, like, time really was of the essence because people were appearing so rapidly that they didn't, you had to investigate people right away because with
Right.
time, despite 2 different jurisdictions pursuing 2 different possibilities, Missy's case went nowhere. In 2000, 8 years after her disappearance, Diana was able to get some level of closure. Pierce County Medical Examiner issued a certificate of presumed death, and a memorial service was held shortly after.
Oh, that's sad.
While she had hoped that her daughter was still alive, the discovery of her clothes a few years earlier, followed by no further evidence, had the Emmy in agreement that her daughter was most likely dead.
This was 7 years after they found the clothes.
Yeah, that's crazy.
An outpouring of donations from the community made the memorial service possible, and the service highlighted Misty's life before the public knew her name. She was a good student who was incredibly athletic, playing basketball, softball, and volleyball in school. So in 2001, Gary Ridgway was arrested and charged with the 48 murders in King County.
Green River Killer.
Yep. 48 murders that they actually had direct ties to him, but they thought it was upwards of 72.
Finally got him.
Mm-hmm. Police, of course, questioned him about the missing Puyallup girls, going as far as to drive him out to the Weyerhaeuser Core Road to see if it would jog his memory. Unfortunately, Gary Ridgway's word meant nothing since he was a liar and a serial murderer.
Right. I mean, you can't.
But he claimed he wouldn't take credit for murders he didn't do. The News Tribune also reports that he had a good reason to distance himself from any case outside of King County. Part of his plea required a full confession to the murders that took place, according to him, only in King County, and any cases outside of what was agreed on in the plea wouldn't save him from the death penalty. In 2003, forensic testing proved that Gary Ridgway was still a monster POS, but he was not a suspect in Misty Anna Chobotnoy or Kimberly DeLange's murder. Many of his victims had paint chips, which they were able to link him to, as he was a truck panel painter, but the red chips found in Misty's pants were not a match. King County Deputy J.K. Pavlovich notes that I learned that the paint chip comparison at Microtrace had determined there was no match between the Copsey evidence and the Ridgway control samples. The paint chips were only ever tested against Gary Ridgway.
Yikes.
No one else. But he was not the only suspect in the case, but primarily the main one that police kind of kept looking at until forensics proved otherwise, which was in 2003.
So now it's cold. It wasn't the uncle or the dude they were supposed to pick him up?
Yeah, there are a few other suspects that they had been looking at. So in January of 1993, so just that following January after she went missing, the name Robert Leslie Hickey crossed the desk of Puyallup Police. He was arrested for the rape of a 15-year-old girl that he had picked up on the same stretch of highway that Misty went missing on, 5 blocks south of the fairgrounds. Despite refusing his offers for sexual favors and hiding in the bushes along the road, the man forced the young girl at knife point into his red Camaro, drove her to a secluded spot, assaulted her, and afterwards pushed her down a ravine. She fell 20 feet but survived and walked 3 miles to the nearest home.
Jeez.
Coincidences with Misty's case were enough to get attention of police, but the News Tribune reports that the records indicate he was never questioned about Misty's disappearance.
Dude.
And his car was red, and they had found red paint flecks on her jeans.
And he was a previous offender 5 blocks away.
And what color was Ruben's car?
Green.
We don't know yet.
It was green.
Green.
So another suspect was Corey Bobber. From the beginning of the case, who was very involved and invested was Corey. Before Misty went missing, Corey was an armchair detective who was convinced he had figured out who the Green River Killer was.
Armchair detective.
Corey wasn't afraid to go to both law enforcement and the local press with his newest theories and quickly latched onto Misty's case. During the search that uncovered Misty's clothing, Diana's sister, Misty's aunt, even accused him of being involved with her disappearance after he was excited when they made their discovery. To him, it was proof that his sleuthing up to that point had been accurate, and the police needed to listen to him. The appearance of the clothing many theorized could have been planted, potentially by Corey, as a way to get law enforcement to take Misty's case seriously and not think of her as a runaway. For 17 years, Corey was in regular contact with Diana and even helped her fight for Misty's case to stay relevant to investigators and the press. His interest in the case led to both police and Diana being suspicious of him, but he maintains his innocence and hopes Misty's case is resolved.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean,
And he was only ever arrested on like drug charges. He didn't have any major kidnapping, sexual assault.
he had like an ounce of weed on him and he got 15 years.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, he seems fine.
He was just like heavily he was kind of whispering theories onto her mom's ear,
Yeah.
and it didn't help the divide between her and the police, that's for sure. So over the years, police did not forget about Reuben Schmidt. Upon original questioning, he confirmed that Misty had called him, but he was at a party that night. However, he also mentioned that he had been suffering from periodic blackouts for years and didn't remember what happened after Misty's call. In fact, he told police when he woke up at his grandma's farm near Enumclaw,
Search that place ASAP.
which was only 6 miles from where her clothes were later recovered. So, like, not close, but also not that far. In 1996, because he did have a car, Reuben appeared on police's radar again when one of Misty's best friends accused him of sexual assault, but didn't press charges, citing additional trauma and stress caused by additional investigations and a trial.
Okay, this guy is completely suspicious.
In 2006, his wife filed for a domestic violence protection order. A report filed with the Pierce County Sheriff states that Reuben has previously told her that if she ever had him served with a court order, he'd 1, burn her house down with her and the kids in it, and 2, send some guys to kick in her door and take money from her. She said Reuben told her that if it came to it, she wouldn't be breathing when they were done with her.
Wow, nice guy.
So he sounds like a gem.
Nice
Yeah.
guy. Real
stand-up
lovely.
citizen.
Yeah, right. But we didn't talk to him or question him when this happened. So now we're
He did take a
years
polygraph.
later.
He did take a polygraph, but the results were inconclusive. And they found that he was trying to like put himself in a trance-like state to try to skew the results. Like he was trying to fall asleep. Yeah. So they're like, okay, weird, but we can't
Okay,
prove that you
that-
didn't do anything. So
Okay, so we got a guy with a red car.
we have
We've
a guy
got
with
this
a red car.
scumbagger.
We got this scumbag. We have the armchair detective. And then we have Michael Reiner.
Oh, okay, who's this guy?
So police later discovered that Trina had lied about what happened after they missed the bus.
Oh, so she's a liar.
Where she told police she'd walked home. In actuality, the 14-year-old's boyfriend, 23-year-old Michael Reiner, picked her up.
Oh my God.
Wow.
23?
When Michael picked her up, Trina told Misty they could give her a ride, but reports say Misty didn't like or trust the older man, so she didn't get in the car. It's suspected that after dropping Trina off at home, Michael went back to the stretch of highway and convinced Misty to get in the car. Despite theories, Michael passed the polygraph and police didn't look further into him.
What color's the car?
However, it should be noted that when Michael was 16, he was accused of abducting and sexually assaulting an 11-year-old at knife point.
What?
But no charges were filed as the case was later dropped.
What?
Okay,
Wait a
okay.
minute.
Why would Trina do that if she knew her? I mean, this guy is a scumburger.
Maybe she didn't know that 7 years ago he raped a girl at knife point.
I think everyone would know that. Like,
I don't know. I mean, he would have graduated high school by the time she was in middle school.
I mean, that's
Just
crazy.
lots of scumbags.
Okay, so our list of potential suspects is significant. So that's why her friend wasn't with her, because
Yes.
her friend never walked home.
No,
But she can't walk 10 miles
no.
by herself
It's
in the
12
middle
miles.
of the night. 12
Mhm.
miles. I'm sorry, 12 miles in the middle of the night. Okay.
So it's now been 34 years since Misty was last seen, and little leads or suspects have been heavily pursued in connection with her disappearance. Her case remains unsolved, and sadly, Diana Smith died in 2020, not knowing what happened to her daughter.
Wow.
Oh, that's sad.
So that's... Misty Copsey is still considered a missing persons as far as the...
And
Runaway.
Puyallup police.
after her mom lied for her and said these are good girls, they just want to have a good time, her mom probably had so much guilt.
Yeah. And her ex-husband, Misty's dad, was still convinced that she was a runaway also. It's like her 18th birthday came and he went to there was a news article that was like, father awaiting phone call from Misty as it's her 18th birthday or something like that.
Oh, so she's no longer bound to Diane.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What a weirdo.
And the police still think that she's only a missing person, a runaway.
That's messed up.
Mm-hmm. Diana said when she would see like missing flyers or missing persons billboards with her daughter's name on it, it would like piss her off because she's not missing. She was probably murdered.
Yeah.
So someone knows what happened to her. Maybe it'll come out, deathbed confession, but it's just sad. Sad all around. And I don't know if I mentioned this, but the forensic evidence on her pants didn't match the two girls that hadn't been buried in the same area.
Mm.
So those two had a killer, and then Misty
A different one?
Mm-hmm.
I think the friend, quote, I'll put in quotes, was a pretty bad person.
Mom, she was 14.
Yeah, still.
When you're
Getting
14,
groomed by a 23-year-old.
Well,
Yeah,
and
no,
when you're
but
14, you
still,
think you're
help the
invincible.
police do something. At least share the information. Don't lie. Like, like your friend's like life is hanging in the balance.
Yeah, I'm sure she has some level of guilt about it too.
We know that the first 48, was really, really important, and
The first 4 months, police.
I mean,
didn't do
she
anything.
just wasn't honest, and she kind of led them down the path to think this girl was a runaway, right? If she would have said and been honest about the fact that
Yeah, I don't know why she wasn't.
she was alone, they wouldn't have assumed that she was just a runaway.
Well, and multiple of her classmates were like, "Oh, I saw her," when they hadn't actually seen her.
Well, rumors are,
I know, but the police took that as fact, unfortunately. So yeah.
how they did not stay together after they had gotten the permission to go just blows my mind, honestly. Like, that's like stupid on steroids. And then I feel bad, and it sounds like there were so many bad people in
Well, yeah,
in that
unfortunately, there were a
circle.
lot of
Like,
offenders operating in that area and that they knew of. So.
Yeah, what's up in Washington? It's like sex offender central.
Mm-hmm. And there were like 6 known serial killers operating at that time too.
Yeah,
So
well,
it's just.
that's back when they would like publicize them too, so people were just getting off on the attention.
Mm-hmm.
well, and the boy that she called to pick her up. I mean, honestly, how could they not look at him right away? She called him, and then he suffers from blackouts, which is, we know what happens. Like, now we know that, like, when people do bad things, oftentimes they do compartmentalize and blackout.
Well, and then he wasn't home.
And then
he
he
ended
was
up
at a
at his
farm?
grandma's house. Yeah.
At the farm? Like,
After a party?
He came out later and said he lied to police sometimes because he just wanted them to get off his back. But like, why would you lie, placing yourself closer to the...
again, how is that helpful if someone is missing, if you didn't do anything
She doesn't
wrong,
care.
if you didn't do anything wrong and someone is missing, wouldn't you want to do your best to make sure that someone wasn't pointing the finger at you?
Maybe, unless you were guilty.
Wait, that guy with the green car, he was 18?
Mm-hmm.
And he had a crush on a 14-year-old?
Mm-hmm.
Dude, something's in the water up there. That's nuts. 23 and 14,
Mm-hmm.
18 and 14.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, I looked this up since you told me about it, and I saw that her dad has come back on and been on a few podcasts, and the Trina has been on a few podcasts now that they're older, since it's been so many
Yeah, I
years.
think ID just did a big Misty Copsey is Missing series where they interview police, and because it's technically still an open case, I don't have any access to police files or anything like that. So
Right. I think that what the dad said, at least the last I read, was that he's convinced it's the boy that was supposed to pick her up.
Yeah, it could be.
He just feels like
Oh, so now he thinks it's not a runaway.
his story didn't make sense. Well, I think a lot of the runaway stuff was issues between him and the ex-wife at the time.
probably.
Right. It was more of a, she's a 14-year-old teenage girl. And she was kind of being used, between the parents as, that was their type of warfare. But I mean, the mom, I feel really bad for the mom dying
Mm-hmm.
and never knowing. And that
That's
they've
sad.
never found anything.
Nope.
No body parts.
Nope.
I
No
wonder if the guy
remains.
lives on a pig farm. His grandparents had a pig
I don't
farm.
know. I don't understand why you would place yourself closer to the scene and why you would willingly admit that you have blackouts where you don't remember what happened. Just like, why would you tell police that?
Yeah.
That's not an alibi. That doesn't clear you of anything,
Yeah, I mean, this 1992, so that would have been when I, graduated from high school.
Mm-hmm.
And I was always creeped out by, the Green River Killer, because we knew that was, happening at that time. Even in college, I would worry about that, but you knew the rules, to be with friends, to not go places alone, to not, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what the rules are. Follow the rules.
Well, and people weren't doing sex work because I wanted to. It was kind of out of they had to survive.
Well,
So
maybe yes and no, but I'm just saying, so if you just think about a 14-year-old at the time, I totally get it. I mean, I would have been a, 17-year-old at the time. But you knew, especially fairs, I mean, stay with your friends. And the fact that the friend totally just left her, that's just not cool. You don't do that.
Nope.
So I guess for this, because we do the believability and creepy, I mean, believable, we know what happened. It's true crime. So there's no believability, right? Because
it's true.
True.
I don't think we're doing believability and creepy level on true crime stuff.
Never?
No.
I don't think so. Yeah, I think we stopped doing that.
Oh, I thought we did.
Nah, it's weird.
It's sad.
Obviously, it's creepy. Obviously, believable.
And obviously,
it just sucks.
It's sad because there aren't any answers all these years later. Maybe she is alive, but all signs kind of point to that not being the case,
Well,
unfortunately.
they found her clothes. I mean, what, she just living a life of, that, yeah, that would be weird. I mean, it would be great, but it's usually not what happens.
Nope.
And I'm disappointed in the police.
Mm-hmm.
Per usual.
They really bunch of egos got in the way of.
They really delayed getting some needed resources on this case that could have helped them, or
just basic information.
Their due diligence and follow up.
Right.
And actually investigating the people surrounding the case, including the girl that she was supposed to be with, the guy that was supposed to pick her up. How about the girl's boyfriend, who, talk about a creeper?
23. Mm-hmm. Yeah, what color is his car? The douche canoe.
I don't know. That's a great question. Didn't say.
But the red car, I mean, if there's red paint, that, I just feel like there's a few things they could have followed up on.
Well, and the red paint flecks went missing.
Oh, of course they did. I mean, this is just
mishandling of evidence 101.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the sad reality.
They had to send it to Illinois, an Illinois crime lab, and then the Illinois crime lab thought that they had sent it back, but they didn't, and the bag was empty and nothing was in there. It was just a whole lot of nonsense that is unfortunate and it sucks. But
well, I hope there's resolution to this case. Like I said, if some of these ones that you've been doing, and I know this is big. I mean, there's been a lot of podcasts on this, or people have done series on trying to figure it out. Now that it's been so long, they figure, hey, someone's going to remember something and now be willing to talk. It's, you're so far removed from it. So that'd be great to get some resolution for the family that's left.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the anniversary is coming up next month, so if you're going to a fair, don't go by yourself. Stay with friends.
Be a good friend. Don't be an asshole.
Don't think you're invincible because you're 14. Bad things happen to everybody. Unfortunately, that's just the world we live in. But, yep, that's the case of Misty Copsey. Also, there was no, contact police if you have information on any of this stuff, which I thought was kind of strange. But whatever. Yeah, if you like this episode or any of the other ones, rank and review them, please. I'd really appreciate it. If you have a true crime case a spooky story, anything like that, please email us eerilybelovedpodcast@gmail.com. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Threads, all the places, Eerily Beloved Podcast. Links to both the email and the social media will be in the show notes. And we will see you next week. Okay, bye.
Bye.
Bye.